y'all for being here. Next, the chair is open for a motion on the minutes.
Move for approval without reading.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? None being heard, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay, the ayes have it. We've got a few things in the report section. Before we get to SFM, Mayor, do you have any recognitions or anything like that?
Yes, sir, thank you. I have a couple of things to go over tonight. But first, we started a great tradition here, recognizing our employees that have been with us certain benchmarks starting at 20 years. So we have 4 individuals here tonight. 3 of them have 20 years, and 1 has 25 years. So I want to start first with Marcia Hedden. Marcia, come down. Marcia was hired as a court magistrate on July the 6th, 1999. Just a few days ago, wasn't it? Just flies by. She's promoted to a magistrate 3 in 2001, and then a supervisor in 2005, and became a senior magistrate in 2018. She supervises 6 magistrates in our court. She's just really got exceptional people skills, something so important down there. You deal with folks in a really difficult time in their lives, and you have to walk through some tough water with them, I'm sure. We appreciate how you handle that, how you're so caring. It's just very important. Our court always is acknowledged for how they treat people. I think that's because of people like you. So we're so grateful for your 20 years of service. Thank you so much.
Rather see you here in this environment than your environment.
That's right. And second, we have Colin Nelson. Colin. And because when Brian, did you bring any of the kids?
I brought a few.
Bring them all down. We want to see everybody.
I'm
Brian,
not sure you'll.
Bailey, Anna Rose, and Caleb. Come on down. So Colin, I remember when she first hired him. Came for her first interview back in probably 98 or 99, and she was hired as a public safety dispatcher, a telecommunicator, and in 2003 she was promoted to telecommunicator. In 2019, just this year, she was promoted to emergency communications manager, so she is one of the individuals that runs our 911 system, which is obviously very important in the city. Just does so much down there in terms of making sure that we have an efficient operation that handles the most desperate calls in the world that come to our city, come through her shop first and foremost. But she's also very instrumental in setting up our command post at the Regions Golf Tournament and the SEC Golf Tournament. These are important events that are spread over a large area, and that we have to have control of that. Outstanding person. She's a wonderful mom, a band mom, a Hoover mom, married to this fine gentleman right here, one of our police officers, Brian's. How long have you been here? 24 years. So they're all in. They're Hoover folks all the way across, and we appreciate everything that all of you do. And thank you so much for your service. And then next, Gary Steinman. Gary, come on up. I think I see Eric and Rowan and Lucas. Y'all come up as well. Good evening. as a temporary administrative clerk in July of 1999 and promoted to a full-time information systems support specialist in 2000 and promoted to information systems support specialist in 2003. She became the library's technology coordinator in 2009. And when people describe Carrie, they talk about how organized. She's a librarian, you know, you gotta know where to put all those books, and she does a great job at that. But really, she's kind of the go-to person at the library. And everybody knows that. She's a wonderful lady with an outstanding disposition. She loves our library. Also, all in Hoover, Ross Bridge, and just does a great job. And you know, it's not only recognized by the city of Hoover, but by the Jefferson County Library Association, where she is instrumental in helping them run their IT department as well. And also the state recognizes her as president of the Alabama Library Association. So we are so proud to have someone like you working for our city and our library. Thank you very much. 20 years.
Yes, sir.
And our final recognition, our longest service here is 25 years, Britt Parrott. Brent, come on down. Your wife with you? You got it about on your own tonight? Okay, that's fine. So Brent came to us as a part-time driver messenger in June of 1944, working with the Hoover Police Department, 1994. You have aged so well. Has anybody ever told you that? And it wasn't even a typo. So anyhow, promoted to a jailer in 1998, and then started as a probation coordinator in 2000. That's a pretty tough job. And moved into court operations as a coordinator in 2009. And Susan will tell you that Brent just goes above and beyond the call of duty each and every day. Wants to make sure that everything that he does is top notch, and that he makes our city look top notch. And he does an absolute wonderful job. He's just a great communicator with the public as well, which is so important in his position. And the other thing about him, since 1944, this is the only job that he's ever had. Came out of Berry High School, and actually since what years? He came out right out of high school, if I'm not mistaken. So been here all along. What a great guy he is. He's known all around the city, and we just appreciate everything that he does. Thank you so much.
Not everybody communicates is happy to be there.
So this past week, as you know, we've been working, Mr. Martin in particular has been working on our comprehensive plan for quite a while now. And happy to say this past week, our zoning board passed the first and only comp plan that I know of in the city of Hoover. It was not without a lot of work by a lot of people. And I just want to kind of go through how that all happened. It's something that, you know, each of you have heard us talk about and had meetings on it. But it all started really probably back in August of 2017. We started our Future Hoover website, started talking about it there. We got input from our city officials back as early as 2017. We got input from our school superintendent as well, and and we started having meetings all over the city. We had them at Hunter Street, we had them at Hoover City Hall, we had them at Spain Park, we had Greystone Elementary. We had several town hall meetings, Crest Baptist, Hoover, City Hall, Greystone Elementary again. We had a review session with city officials in 2018. And I could go through a lot longer list here. That's the point I want to make, is that there have been a lot of people involved in this, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Our citizens have been really good in giving feedback. Our zoning board, as they really worked hard on this, and I think they tore it apart, picked it apart, looked at the weakness, looked at the strengths. Councilman Shaw did an outstanding job as the liaison for our city council. Certainly, Mr. Rice did a wonderful job as my representative on the board, and just a great deal of work. And we particularly appreciate, Mac, what you did in this. Done an outstanding job. And I'm excited to see how what our city will look like. We talked about what a great city we've had the past 52 years. Grew up to be one of the finest city in Alabama. So this is what we want to strive for the next 50 years. So we're excited about it. I look forward to working with everyone in the community and making Hoover just continue to be the great place that it is. And then finally, had an opportunity to attend the SEC Media Day today at the Winfrey. Probably over 1,000 reporters there from all over the United States. Just a great event. Commissioner Sank and his staff recognizes that. So just want to let y'all know it's off to a great start. I know that each of you will probably visit at some point. I know most of you up here will be down on Thursday for the Auburn review, so I'll see you down there. I just got one. Well, I'll see you there.
You're talking about Wednesday.
I'll talk about Thursday. So anyhow, just a lot of great things going on in our city, and I know that y'all know that, and I don't think we can ever say enough how blessed we are, and how many. Just what an exciting time we're in, and what a great city we're able to represent. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
I want to ask you a question. Now we got a question for
you brought up the comprehensive plan. I know the council was provided a copy on a thumb drive at the beginning. Is there a chance that we could get a copy, since we weren't involved in the process? We're going to be trying to work with that going forward. It'd be nice if we could get copies as well.
Yeah, of course, we have copies. It's so big, we prefer you to download it and just put it on your computer. I'll be glad to make sure that you do.
Yeah, no, if we just had access to.
Yeah, well, that's pretty easy to do. Yeah, it's on our website, so, and I'm glad you asked that, because I want our citizens to understand it's there as well. It's thick, but again, yeah, thank y'all for, just, I know that Matt gave each of you kind of a thumbnail sketch of it, and there's a lot of information to go through.
About 400 pages.
Yeah, there's a lot, less months. So, okay, all right.
Are you, we talk about the future of this as a tournament. Obviously, we have had great success with using the Finley Center as our hospitality area. Are you working with John on possibly moving that event down there and having more of using that as more of a showcase?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand.
Are you looking to move media days? You talk about pitching it in the future and getting it back to Hoover. Are you working with John about maybe moving it to the?
Well, no, I am not. We have not really discussed moving it to the Finley Center. The SEC likes it at the Winfrey. It's a great opportunity for us as well to showcase the Galleria, bring people in from all over the country. It's busy. It's a very nice venue. So I don't really see Finley Center certainly could could host that. But I think it's a great opportunity for one of our businesses to continue hosting it. I hope that's where we'll land each time that it comes around.
And I was thinking more of when they had it in Atlanta, they had a big field where they had a fanfare.
They did.
Something like that, maybe
We
to
did.
kick off.
Right. We did talk a little bit about that today and how we could do something like that. 'Cause I think that's been instrumental in making the SEC tournament so successful. So maybe as the Galleria develops morphs into something a little different, next 3 or 4 years, there might be an opportunity to have something like that. Okay, we appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? Before we get started with SFM's report, I do want to recognize Jefferson County Commission President Jimmy Stevens is in the room. Thank you, sir, for being here. Got Ms. Muller next to him. Hey, you, Mr. Lynch. We have State Representative David Wheeler, that represents a large portion of Hoover, and former council member Jody Patterson. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you? Good evening, everyone. We would like to present Sports Facility Management's middle of the year report, 2018 to 2019, to May of 2019. This is the first report with the entire complex open. So the last phases of the complex, the multi-purpose fields opened in February, the tennis opened in March, April timeframe, and the splash pad opened up in May. So what you see now is the first indications of overall performance of the entire site. So we'll talk about tonight the financial performance of the site, the local access and usage, and going forward. Financial performance, gross income, expenses, and profit and loss. Our first slide is gross income comparison. This is just gross income. So all of our performance areas are exceeding budget. Our event income, non-sporting, is well above forecasted amount. Sports income has continued to increase and is now approaching $500,000 for the year, and we're only halfway through. The RV park continues to well exceed its expectations. And now that we've brought food and beverage in-house, those numbers are escalating exponentially. Keep in mind, last year when we wrote the budget, we weren't sure what the outcome of food and beverage would be, so we obviously underestimated where we thought we could be. And when we write this year's budget, it'll obviously be a different number. Expenses comparison to as well. We're above or under budget on all aspects. Payroll is pretty well even, and that's because we reached saturation for what we thought we would have for payroll, and we're pretty well at an even keel. We have a couple open positions, but we're pretty full. Facility operations, or the facility itself in budgeting is even as well, just about. Operating is a little better than finding efficiencies every day, so we're doing a little bit better than forecasted. And overall, we're just slightly under where we thought we would be by $72,000. Profit and loss comparison.
Hey, John, I
Yes.
apologize, my friend. Is this year to date?
This is from October of 18 to May of 2000. October 18, October 1st, 2018 to May 31st of this year.
Okay.
So we took profit and loss comparison, and you'll see some numbers here that are budget to lose. Overall, we were We look better than everything we were projected to do. We see some numbers that are fluctuating, and largely those numbers are fluctuating due to the increase in coverage and the increase of the cost involved in this. So we think that once we budget next year, those numbers will even out and will still show a large profitability in the food service area in exceeding the original contract.
John, wasn't the last figures, they shown a little more profit because you hadn't completed all your hiring at that time, correct?
Yes, absolutely, sir. Events up so far, these are the events that we have had to date. There's some pretty high profile events. We haven't lost any events, and we continue to move onto the national market as it relates to events. Economic impact. So we did economic impact using the national CDB economic impact calculator, and we did this middle of the year report in-house, and we will continue to validate that with other sources. But we were projected at the end of this year, September, to be at a $13 million economic impact, and currently, as of the end of May, we're at $31,444,000. So we more than doubled the economic impact as it relates to the overall performance of the site. Now, we also think that our calculation was better than we anticipated, so we actually made it a little more conservative. So we toned down some of the numbers on the calculator and still came up with a very good number.
Mr. Sparks, may I ask you a question there? There's a great disparity between quarter one and quarter two. How would you explain that? Is that a disparity we would expect to see going forward just on the seasons, or?
Yes. Yeah.
So fourth quarter's already been
Yes.
Also, first quarter, mainly the only things open were the family center and stadium.
Yes.
Ball fields had not come on.
October, yes. So we opened up ball fields in August. We did a few end-of-year tournaments, very minor, and ramped up after that.
Is that Jefferson County impact or Hoover impact?
Both. I think you'll see, and it doesn't show the detail, but I think you'll see that in indirect spend, it's a higher percentage towards Hoover, and in direct spend as it relates to housing, it's all over Jefferson County. It shows. Our next slide is our attendance matrix. The attendance matrix shows by attendance and by types of shows that we have done and events we've done, the overall attendance into the facility. I compared these numbers to last year, and last year's end-of-year numbers, these are all either at the 90 percentile or have already exceeded last year's numbers, and that was indicative of a full year. So we're continuing to get more and more people as an attendance number. Down with open gym, walking track, and climbing. Obviously, climbing wasn't open a lot last year, so we've exceeded what we reported at the last report by over 2,000. Walking track and open gym are in the 90th percentile to exceed last year's full year numbers. So we expect that by the October-November time thing, when we report again, these numbers will exceed last year's overall usage rate. Local sports usage. We continue to expand here. Most of these numbers, to give you an example, Southern Performance Volleyball we exceeded those numbers by over 2,000 from last year. HCBC was greater than last year. And then we get down to Parks and Rec Volleyball and basketball and flag football. All those numbers exceed last year's full year numbers to the tune in total of about 4,000 or 5,000 overall. So 20,000 last year to a number of almost 5,000 this year. In addition, the baseball fields, Hoover Soccer Club and Hoover Lacrosse have brought in over 30,000 in local usage. Climbing Adventure. Climbing Adventure has had over 2,750 climbers, 16 birthday parties held January through June so far, 22 memberships are sold, and we've reached out to numerous specialty events charitable contributions. The Arts and Autism Group has benefited from the climbing, Hoover Schools, the Fairy Tale Ball, all of we've reached out to the community and provided access to the facility so that they can get the benefit of it.
Sparks, is the climbing adventure available for walk-up days?
Yes, sir.
What days of the week?
Open every day of the week in the evenings, and Saturdays, and we reserve Sundays for birthday parties.
Our grandson's coming this weekend, so Saturday.
All right.
Paul will be in good shape.
The next one is splash pad and playground. We are averaging over 200 guests daily to the splash pad and playground. We get, I have notifications on my Facebook page that total 20 to 30 a day, and most of them are generated around the splash pad and the park. And, I can personally attest that my granddaughter thinks it's hers, and she loves it, and so it's great. It's moving along very fast. If it was double its size, it'd be full today. Going forward, our booking pace is continuing to grow in our marketing and as well as national tournaments. Looking for the rest of booking pace for the rest of 2019 and into 2020, you can see the list of events we have. Some are redundant. A lot of our tournaments as of 2018-19 are multi-year tournaments, and we continue to try to expand those out for numerous years within reason, and keep the building full. So we have some new events that have been highly successful, and we'll encourage you to come back. We just recently did the Culture City Ball, which was highly successful for us, and a great cause, and hopefully they'll come back and join us again in years to come. National events. Perfect Game, we've looked at the Perfect Game model in a variety of different scenarios. Baseball, it's an elite baseball organization. We're excited as of this morning to announce that they're going to enter into a 3-year agreement with us to make the Hoover Met Complex one of 2 Southeast regional hubs for their product at no additional investment from the city. So we kind of got, after some things that we were working on, we kind of got our cake and eat it too, and so which was very good. So we've confirmed already for 2020, this is the major events. We'll have springtime and fall time events that aren't located on here. But based on these events here, we're estimating an economic impact from just this portfolio of over $12 million. And they are going to sign up for 2020, 21, and 22. Marketing, we continue to reach out to the NARC, national headquarters for sports commissions. Event press and releases, social media, e-news, monthly, and Hoover Climbing and Adventure has its own section, Athlete of the Week, and we have now SFM Network, which is a network that SFM has created of all their facilities, and so we're co-mingling information across all of our facilities and sharing that information out nationwide. That's our report. Any questions?
Mr. President, can I?
Yes, sir.
Do you want?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A couple of, well, thank you so much, John, for the presentation. Regarding the projected impact you talked about earlier, and Melinda, maybe you can piggyback on this. Do you see a comparison with the actual financial realized in our revenue stream?
We actually record all of the activity you see on the screen from SFM on our books. And then in addition, there's actually a page you receive monthly in your financial report. It includes it plus the amount this city is expending. So if they are resulting in favorable results, they are also going to show on our returns as well. Of course, ours shows the debt that's on the facility as well as additional operating items.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is strictly, not the variance, but strictly the, not the variance with revenue expenditure, but more so increase in revenue from October up until now. Do you see a difference, the revenue increase due to that impact alone? Due to this.
You're talking about the economic impact.
Yes,
It's hard to see that on a revenue and revenue stream on economic impact. That's something that's kind of hard to see, specifically. But obviously, anything that's economically impacting the city of Hoover, businesses and so forth, that is flowing through, but we can't necessarily tie it specifically to this. That's something that's hard to do.
right, so, I mean, and I get that, because it may be a lot of variables that decrease the revenue in the same year. Okay, that is what it is on that. So, and last question I have, and.
I would say this, though, if you have more people coming to your city, it's gonna be more people than would have come to your city.
Yeah, I just like to kind of know numbers when making a case argument on certain
Sure.
things. And the last thing I asked, one was made about the splash pad, and kind of reminds me of Maya Angelou, her statement of you can't walk around with 2 bits in your hand, got to take one off and be able to throw back as you receive. So we didn't necessarily do that amenity for getting something back, but making an all-inclusive opportunity for all people, right? With that being said, is there any opportunities there? Because I'm hearing from patrons about food opportunities, and they have restroom features, but just food and other amenities available. Because even in the weekend, I know you're doing 200 daily, but the variance on the weekend is a lot greater, especially during the summer in many cases than on a weekday. So any opportunity you realize there?
Yes, so we are providing some services now. So we're providing ice cream facilities out there for kids to get ice cream, and we're looking at some temporary sandwich delivery type services out there. And then we have also budgeted for October 1st to have a more permanent solution for next year, as we open up next year, where we'll be able to serve food, drinks, and also some other items that are essential to the splash pad, lip balms, sunscreen, things of that nature that will help out in some kind of a kiosk format.
Just when you think of that, just think about whether it's something that should be mobile versus a concession structure long term. Just something I would just love to know. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anything else from Mr. Sparks?
Mr. President, I have a
Yes,
question. First of all, excellent job, as always. I mean, I didn't anticipate to see this big of a variance this soon, which is great. And then looking at your future, looking at what you're bringing here, the perfect game, I think that's only going to grow, which is very, very good. Good job. Second, the question I have is, this weekend I watched the Peach Jam, which is a Nike camp component and a competition. And I noticed that we did very well in the past in recruiting basketball events. Are we seeing that for the future? Are we able to recruit something like the Peach Jam here?
So it's not on this report, but we just are in the middle of and just finished the senior portion of the Adidas Gauntlet. The Adidas Gauntlet started last Wednesday with the senior group, and ended Sunday night. We had registered over 400 college coaches, 530
Wow.
college coaches. It's one of the 4 open recruitment periods available for a 10-day window. We were one of those 4 tournaments. 2 were sponsored by Adidas and 2 were sponsored by Nike. So we were one of the 2 from Adidas. We had 200 plus teams. Each team has 12 kids. We're estimating the economic impact of just this last weekend at $3 million conservatively. And then the junior portion started Sunday night and is going on through Wednesday this week. So that is an event that they are already talking to Jamie about in the next year and the year after.
That's great. So with that said, could you give us an estimate on, you had April and May, maybe a ballpark estimate on June and July?
For economic impact?
Economic impact.
11.
That's great.
I think that at year's end, we will conservatively be somewhere between 38 to 45 million.
Wow. That's great. Thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you to my management team, because these guys here that are helping me out tonight, they're the reason it's very successful.
How many?
Looking his tail off and has been here like 16 hours a day for the last week. So Adidas is his baby, and it's come to fruition. It's great.
How many hotel rooms do you figure were spent, hotel room nights, with all those coaches and all those players and their families? Sparks, have you had your anniversary date yet?
No, sir.
When's your anniversary date? Sorry?
2 weeks.
So this also encompasses some of the previous manager that was, I don't want to speak to other people, can't defend themselves, but I'm going to. You are head and shoulders above the gentleman who preceded you here. You have done remarkable things.
Largely because of our staff, see the positive motion.
Yeah. Any other questions from the council?
Mr. President, if I could just also extend my thanks to John and his staff. What a remarkable job. For those of us that were tasked with casting a vote on this 4 years ago, we now see in year 3, I know Dr. Lopez is right, we now see in year 3 that we're outpacing where any of us thought we would be. We were on a 5-year time frame to think we would be in a position to even break even. You're talking about 31,000 room nights. Dr. Lopez is right. It's very difficult to estimate the exact impact, but even a layperson like myself can tell you that's having a positive impact on the city of Hoover. But not just on the city of Hoover. I expect their mailboxes, Mr. President, to be full from accolades and thank yous from our neighboring councilmen and mayors, because this is having an impact on all of Jefferson and Shelby counties. We don't have that many rooms, and you know that, John. 31,000 in the last few months, so that's really remarkable that what we're doing for the entire metro area. And $31 million in economic impact when it was forecasted for just under 14 is absolutely remarkable. I asked Mr. Smith and Mr. Shaw, we were having a conversation the other day, and I can't think of another project that the city of Hoover has taken on in our 52-year history that will have the economic impact that this one has had. History's written of the city of Hoover in another 50 years. The Hoover Met Complex is going to be a shining star and really what helped us diversify our revenue from a strictly retail-based economy to more of an entertainment-based economy. And I'm so glad you guys are having a part in that, so thank you.
And from a revenue standpoint, and Amanda can attest to this, our increased tax base is exponential. It's largely because of the events we're putting on, tax base growth. So that's a direct relationship back to the city of Hoover in some percentages. So that is one measurement, but although small, areas of involvement.
Mr. Shaw?
Mr. President, obviously the financial results are phenomenal and amazing to comprehend. Those are fun problems to think through of how much the impact might be for the city and surrounding cities and the counties. But I wanted to comment real quick just on the responsiveness of you and your team. This is, in addition to the revenue, this also has a significant role as a community property and service to the community, and you highlight that. And we have a lot of discussion about that in the advisory committee about threading that needle between public access and the revenue generating activities. And y'all have been so responsive, and that anytime there's been any issues or whatever, y'all are on it, and I get rave reviews anytime I've ever referred anybody over to you. But also the way you balanced the revenue generating activities to that result and still maintain the public access is amazing, and that's a job well done, so thank you very much.
Thank you. The puzzle's not always easy to fit together, but
I know it's not.
we're working on it. So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Two more comments.
Yes.
Can we get this out to, we have one media outlet here tonight, can we get this out to everybody?
We got two.
Some way? Okay, that's great, thank you.
All right. Unless there are any other reports, I know there's a committee report that will come later on. One of the agenda items. We have 3 things on the consent agenda. Resolution 6035, 6036, and the payment of bills. Mr. Corley, you want to handle any statements that need to be made?
Resolution number 3519, amends the budget for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2019, provide for the item set forth on the tax bill today. And resolution number 603619 reschedules the regular meeting of the Hoover City Council, originally scheduled for the Labor Day holiday on Monday, September 2nd, 2019, until Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019, at 6 p.m.
is open for a motion.
Mr. President, I would move for approval of the consent agenda, but would ask respectfully that we remove resolution number 603519 from the consent agenda and move down to regular.
Okay, it'll be the first item on the regular agenda then. So that leaves 60.
Second.
Second. Sorry.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Now we're gonna, in our regular agenda, we're gonna bring up resolution 603519, Mr. Corley.
This resolution amends the budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2019, to provide for the items set forth on Exhibit A.
Mr. President, I would move for approval. Resolution number 603519 with the removal of item number 5 noted on the budget amendment, which addresses the change in position for city treasurer from 18 to 15. I've received a few questions from my colleagues. I think it'd be wise for us to unpack those questions over the next couple of weeks and digest those before we go on.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Item 10 is resolution 603919, Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes the mayor to execute and deliver any and all documents necessary to secure an agreement for domestic core fixed income manager based upon request for proposal received by the city on June 3rd, 2019.
Mr. President, I can make a quick statement on that. As you're aware, because you serve on our committee, the investment committee met at 5 o'clock this evening and considered 4 requests, or for 4 proposals, I should say, to serve in this capacity. And our committee unanimously voted to approve Raymond James as the financial advisor to the city going forward, pending, of course, the council's decision. So I would move for the approval of resolution number 603919, naming Raymond James as the fixed income manager.
Second.
All right, Mr. Corley, do you have anything you need to say? All right. Any comments or questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing here, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Item 11, resolution 603719, is my understanding, has been corrected. Right? That's true?
Yes, sir. The 2 properties that y'all are gonna have tonight have been cut to my satisfaction.
All right. So we will need a motion to withdraw.
Mr. President, I move to withdraw resolution 603719.
Second.
A motion second. Comments or questions from the council? Any from the audience? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Next, we have ordinance number 192445. This is a second reading. Annexation. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance rearranges, alters, and extends the city's corporate limits to include property located at 4273 South Shades Crest Road, owned by Thomas and Dara Coffey, and is shown on the map attached to the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 19-2445.
Second.
A motion and a second. Comments or questions? From the council, from the audience? Seeing, hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Betsy?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. The motion is adopted. Next is ordinance 19-2447, second reading of an annexation. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance rearranges, alters, and extends the city's corporate limits to include property located at 2869 Georgetown Road, owned by Penn Chu, as shown on the map attached to the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 19-2447.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing, hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Betsy?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. Next, we have second reading, another annexation
President, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 19-2448.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Comments or questions from the council? Any from the audience? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. Next, we have first a public hearing for ordinance 19-2442. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends the zoning code of the city of Hoover to add two new zoning classifications thereto: Plan Development District, or PDD, and Institution.
President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 19-2442.
Second.
Okay, we need to have our public hearing first, so anybody here to speak? Mr. Mack, you want to give a short explanation about these two zoning classifications?
Sure thing. The BDD is meant to serve as a bit of a reserve space for future planned unit developments. And the special use district that's also being added is for largely public uses, non-residential, non-commercial.
Educational buildings, government buildings?
Yes, sir. Educational, government, arts, culture, recreation, and the like.
Very good. This is a public hearing. Anybody care to get up and talk? Seeing nobody, we'll close the public hearing. We've got a motion and a second. Mr. Corley's done his part. Any questions prior to the vote from the council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. Next, we have ordinance 19-2443 that also starts with a public hearing. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends the zoning code of the city of Hoover to amend the supplemental use regulations concerning private swimming pools.
Anybody, Mr. Mack? Other Mack? D Mack? Got a lot of Macks.
Yes, this, to amend the supplemental use regulations to allow co-location of pool facilities, mechanical equipment along with HVAC and other mechanical appurtenances.
These aren't for the pools per se, but just their.
Just mechanics. That's correct.
Anybody care to participate in the public hearing? Patterson, I've never known you to be this quiet this long. All right, public hearing is closed. Open for a motion.
President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 19-2443.
Second.
Motion second. Once again, any questions from the council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. Next, we all know how we like public hearings. Ordinance 19-2444, Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends the zoning code of the city of Hoover to amend the sign regulations for building wall signs set forth in Article 10 and Article 15 of the 280 overlay.
All right, this is a public hearing. Mr. Mack.
Mr. President, again, this particular amendment is to allow for greater flexibility in the use of allotted square footage for signage in non-residential commercial districts.
All right, any questions from the council or the audience? This is a public hearing. I like somebody got gold on the floor. We will end the public hearing, and, anything from the audience? All right, we're gonna close the public hearing, open for a motion.
Move for approval of resolution 603119.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Once again, any questions from the council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed nay. The ayes have it. Now we're gonna get to our three first readings. First is ordinance 19-2449, Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends ordinance number 092183 to set 13 voting and polling places for all municipal elections to be held in the city of Hoover. The locations are as follows: Hoover Park and Recreation Center at 600 Municipal Drive, Hoover Public Library, 200 Municipal Drive, Oakmont Presbyterian, 1817 Penn Chapel Road, Jade's Crest Baptist Church, 452 Park Avenue, Bluff Park United Methodist Church at 733 Valley Street, Prince of Peace Catholic Church, 4600 Preserve Parkway, the Finley Center, 1000 RV Trace, St. Peter's Catholic Church, 2061 Patton Chapel Road, River Chase Church of Christ, 1868 Montgomery Highway, Hoover Fire Station number 7, 100 Inverness Center Parkway, Hoover Fire Station number 8 at 121 Village Street, Greystone Farms Clubhouse, 1000 Farmhouse Road, and absentee balloting at Hoover City Hall, 100 Municipal Drive.
It's a lot compared to the old days. Madam Clerk, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Pretty well. All right. Item 20, ordinance 19-2450, first reading. Courtney.
This ordinance amends Chapter 3, Article 1, Section 3-3 of the Municipal Code, City of Hoover, to prohibit the on-premise sale of alcoholic malt or brewed beverages in the city from and after 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. on any day except Sunday, and on Sunday between the hours of 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. This ordinance also amends Chapter 3, Article 1, Section 3-4 of the Municipal Code of the City of Hoover to make it unlawful for any place of business licensed to sell liquors, wines, or malt, or brewed beverages to allow any person to consume or drink such beverage on the business's premises between the hours of 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. on any day except Sunday, and on Sunday between the hours of 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. This ordinance also amends Chapter 3, Article 2, Section 3-29 of the Municipal Code of the City of Hoover to permit the dispensing of alcoholic beverages, including beer, wine, and liquor, to members of private clubs on Mondays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. the following morning, and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Corley, I'm glad you don't get paid by the word. That is a first reading. Next, item 21, ordinance 19-2451. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance rearranges, alters, and extends the city's corporate limits to the annex property located at the meets and bounds legal description of the property set forth in the warranty deed attached to the ordinance, owned by Eugene E. Linton Jr. and Valletta M. Linton.
That is all the first readings.
Mr. President, can I make a
Yes, sir.
note on that? Ms. Linton, are you here? Yes. Does the sale of your property hinge on this item?
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'm going to ask for immediate consideration of suspension of rules, and I would move that we suspend the rules, and I would ask for a full roll call vote on that motion.
Second.
All right. Any direction you choose?
As long as it's full.
All right. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of ordinance 19-2451. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Mr. Wyatt?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Nay.
Mr. Smith?
Aye. It only takes one nay to not permit the suspension of the rules, so this will be seen again on August 5th. Next, item 22, resolution 603819, Mr. Robert Mack stated that this has come into compliance and we need a motion to withdraw. Very good. Now we're to the comments and questions portion. Does council have anything to talk about? I do not see anything. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything? You do? Okay. Anyone from the audience care to speak this evening? Amazing. Before anybody changes their mind,
Mr. President, can I say one thing?
uh,
I want to say, Mr. Westhoven, we had a major crisis in our neighborhood a couple weeks ago involving a curb in front of somebody's house. And I know that's not a big deal until it's the curb in front of your house, but he got out there within 15 minutes, and addressed the situation, got everybody squared away, and I really appreciate that, because that was a big deal for our neighborhood, so thank you, Mr. Westhover.
That was at your house?
That was just down the road.
All right. Yes, sir, come down and give us your name and your street name. We quit asking for street addresses when the protest started. Name and street.
My name's Bill Richardson, I live on Deodara Drive, and I just wanted to, as a very pleased citizen of Hoover, say that I'm very grateful that so much good work was done in bringing youth baseball travel team type operations to our city. It meant a lot to me because in like January or February, my daughter called and said that my grandsons were coming to Hoover rather than Lake Point, Atlanta. I don't think if you understand the consequence of that, well, that means that I don't have to travel in Atlanta. So I was delighted, and just want to say thank you for the good work, and I personally would like to, kind of stay involved and contribute. I think Hoover as a community has got a lot to sell, as from the hospitality standpoint versus other places like Atlanta or even Nashville. I've been to it in both places. I wouldn't want to go to Houston for things, but I think we should make a point of doing things that feature our skills in hospitality. Thank you.
Stand there just a moment, sir. Recently, it became known around the Green Valley neighborhood that someone had vandalized the duck feeding machine. And Mr. Richardson took it upon himself